You're listening to Love is the Answer, a podcast that explores the power of love in real life, with your hosts, Lynn and Laurel Elstrom. We are so excited to have with us today Sebastian Blaksley. He's coming to us from Buenos Aires, Argentina. And he is the channel / author of the book series Choose Only Love. He's been getting downloads from the angels and archangels and Jesus and Mary and a host of other holy beings. And from what I understand, he just can't scribe it out fast enough. So we're really excited to talk with him and find out what his process has been like and what the messages are. And so we'll jump in. And so Lynn, do you want to take it from there?
Yeah, just before we get started, we want to remind all of our listeners out there that we want to help you with your challenges or any issues that are coming up. And we're going to investigate how love is the answer and to all of our issues, every seeming problem that we come across. And we'd love to have your help. So if you have a question or an issue that you would like to bring up for our podcast show, you can email us at loveisalwaystheanswer@gmail.com. That's loveisalwaystheanswer@gmail.com. And we'll use discovery and inquiry to explore all the issues. So please don't hesitate to send us your questions. Again, that is loveisalwaystheanswer@gmail.com.
And I'm going to just go off script a little bit and say that where this came from is when I was a child growing up, I'd visit my Amish grandparents' house and they'd have these Bible signs all over. And my grandmother had one sign that just said, "Love is the answer." Wasn't attributed to any Bible verse or anything like that. And I used to hang upside down on the couch and look at that and ask myself, is that true? Could that be true? Could love be the answer to this problem? Could it be the answer to that problem? And so that's kind of what we're going to be doing at the end of every podcast here, is taking one particular problem, issue, question, and investigating, could love be the answer to this? So we really invite you to send us your questions. So now let's bring in our guest, Sebastian. We are thrilled to have you. How are things in Argentina?
Hello, everyone. Well, I'm here in a beautiful autumn, wonderful weather, and this time of the year is very beautiful and peaceful for this part of the world. So things are doing fine.
So it's autumn there?
Yes.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
South America, the tip of South America.
I mean, I would shows you what I know.
We're very honored, Sebastian, to have you, and thank you so much for taking your time out to join us today. It's really a treasure to have you. And so we're gonna go with our first question for today, something we will be asking all of our guests on our podcast. And so we'd like to ask you, what does love mean to you?
Thank you very much. It's my honor to be here. And I would say that love is everything for me. I strongly believe and feel that life without love means nothing. What is a dinner without love but just a simple social gathering? But with love, it's a celebration. that is the example that uses A Course of Love. And I strongly believe and feel that is absolutely true. What is our intelligence without love? It makes us cruel. What is our courtesy without love? It becomes hypocrisy. So everything is nothing for me without love. So I would say that if I couldn't live in love, I rather haven't be created, because I think the only reason that gives meaning to me is to live receiving and giving love. I know that love is the reason of my existence, and it's everything to me. So I can't even imagine life without love. I don't want to live without love.
So when you talk about love, I'm taking for granted that you're not talking about sentimental or romantic love. You're talking about something else, something like A Course of Love talks about it as if it's joining, that love is joining and acceptance, like an embrace, an open heart. Does that agree with what you're talking about when you talk about love?
Yes, definitely. I'm not talking about romantic love, or what sometimes is called as love in the world. I talk about a love that has no beginning or end and makes you live in the fullness of who you are. For me, love is what I am, as God created me to be. So love and the truth of who I am is the same for me. So union and joining myself, for me, means to be able to live in a stage of being completely who I am, as God created me to be.
Would you agree, Sebastian, that everyone is love? That's who we all are?
Yes, definitely yes. And the reason why I say this is because the essence of what we are is equal for everyone, and that is love, because God is love and love is our source. So the other person, or whatever the other is, because it could be a flower or an animal or whomever is the other, gives me the opportunity to know myself. Because I know myself, extending love. And for me, love is union, and union is a relationship. So because you are love and I am love, we together can be united in the truth of who we are and experience that reality of our true self.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you. What was coming from me was would you say too that love is the energy of creation, of everything? It encompasses everything, and it also permeates everything. The trees, the flowers, the rivers, the wind, and us. Would you
Mhm.
say something similar to that as well? That it's just the energy of creation, which is, and since we're all connected, it's who we are.
Absolutely. That's why I say that love is everything,
Yes.
because love is what we can see as the manifestation, and also what is behind it or beyond the manifestation. So we are here to express the love that everything is.
So I wanted to get into your books. So I have to tell you that I have a certain amount of what I consider to be healthy skepticism about other people saying, Jesus told me to tell you this, or the angels said this. There's a part of me that's like, yeah, I can probably access stuff myself. So I just wanted to bring that out and ask you to talk about these beings that are coming to you and what that's like and who you see them to be. Are they outside of yourself? Are they a part of yourself? Are they a reflection of yourself? Are they archetypes from within you? Or are they separate from you? Where are these people coming from? And if you have any idea of why they've taken this form to deliver their message. And now I'll shut up and let you answer.
Thank you for that question. I think it's a fundamental question. When I say Archangel Raphael said this, or Archangel Gabriel, or Jesus or Mary, or the voice of Christ, it's because it is what I mean. So they come to me with their own identity, but at the same time, I know their essence is the same as me. So the important message here is to keep us unity as one, the I that we are, and the totality and oneness that we also are. So this manifestation could be, be expressed or carried through just one voice. But there is a message why different beings came to me and still come to me. And it's about identity. What they want us to know is how much they love our humanity. And the message here is that our humanity is as holy as our spirit. And they want us to understand that there's nothing wrong with us, with who we are here and now, even with our personality and our body. So Archangel Raphael explained to me very clearly the risk that we are running in this time of history about spirituality, which is the risk of losing our identity and creating more conflict in our identity if we don't integrate the uniqueness of who we are and the love that is our essence. So you asked a question about whether these are outside of me or inside of me, or they are, you gave different options. And I would say they are all of that at the same time.
Why do you think it's so hard for humans?
Why do I feel it's so hard? What?
Right. It's hard to be a human. Sometimes I think that the other beings look at us and think, man, it really took a lot of courage for you to show up in that atmosphere and in that setting. So it's like, why? And if you don't have the answer for this, it's fine. I think it might even be a rhetorical question, but it's hard to be human a lot of the times.
Most of the time, because we came to a dimension to experience suffering. So here we are addressing the mystery of suffering. So it's part of this experience. Being human means to walk through the whole human experience. And that includes pain and suffering, and also happiness and graceful feelings, because this is a dimension of duality. And that creates the whole experience of duality. And suffering is one of the biggest questions we have as human beings. So I think the important thing about suffering is to integrate it. Once we know this is part of this experience, we need to integrate that. It is what it is, and it has a purpose. It has a purpose. And that purpose, according to what was revealed to me by Jesus, was that this dimension, including everything that it has, is the perfect way to come to me faster and easier, to remain forever and ever within my embrace.
Thank you.
So these are like advanced classes, actually, that we're in. We're in the AP version.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, thank you for that extra clarification, Sebastian. And so I had a question that I wanted to get into about the actual process of your receiving the messages from the angels and Jesus and Mary. So I do have a question. I wanted to read something quickly from your book. But you, in the beginning of Choose Only Love, which was released, I think, October of 2019, and everyone can get that on Amazon.com now. So everyone knows that. Choose Only Love. And there's the English version, and there's also the Spanish version. So you said that this started happening in October of 2018, October 3rd, 2018. And you received magnificence, beauty, and benevolence that cannot be described. With perfect clarity, you understood it to be the glorious Archangel Raphael. And he introduced himself saying, "I am the medicine of God." And then you were, due to your Catholic background, you were given I think it's 9 days of the traditional novena. And so after you completed the 9 days of the novena, I would like to read something. I want to have a question for you on the process of receiving, the transmissions. Okay, it says, the day after finishing this novena of prayer, I had my first glorious visit from a choir of countless angels of God, accompanied by Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel. Their love and beauty were indescribable, and through them came the ineffable voice of Christ. The voice also showed itself in symbols, visible to the spirit. I expressed their meaning in written words, as well as recordings of my voice. So I wanted to ask you, I'm curious about the whole process and what exactly, it may be hard to describe in words, but you saw symbols. You heard a transmission from the angels, and you actually saw symbols. And then from the symbols, you were able to transcribe it into Spanish, and then another transcription into English. So I was wondering if you could share a little bit about what symbols did you see, and how, and what the process of all that was with your receiving these symbols.
This is the way this manifestation works in my case. It is presented to me symbols which are not describable. It's an image. And in that image, within those symbols, my spirit, my mind, and my heart can understand in a blink of an eye the whole message. Then I received that chapter or message or session, and I start to work into the process of translating those symbols from the spirit to human words. It's a translation, literally speaking, from the language of love to the language of the mind, here and now. So my spirit sees the symbols, my spiritual ears listen to the music of heaven, and beyond those symbols is the voice of Christ giving me the message. And then they go away, and I'm alone with Archangel Raphael and Gabriel to move into the process of putting this into words.
I know it's asking a lot for you to take all that you've been given and try to reduce it down to like one message for all of humanity, but I'm going to ask you to do that anyway. And if you could just give us the most important message that the angels and Mary and Jesus and all of these holy beings that have come to you want human beings to know. Could you tell us what that is as succinctly as you can? Okay.
Sure. The message here is very simple, although it has a lot of meaning. The message here is that you and me and everyone are ready to live as the Christ who you truly are. So humanity is now in a stage of being able to live as a new humanity, to live as the love that we all are. And this is what is going to happen. We are going to see more and more Christ in the earth, because we are ready to do that.
Beautiful. Yeah. Would that be similar to maybe like, say, heaven and earth are no longer separate, but they're now one? Bringing heaven to earth, but not even bringing, it's no longer, you know, two separate things. It's heaven and earth are one. Would that be similar?
It's exactly like that, because heaven and earth, the union of our humanity and our spirituality.
Divinity.
So,
Yeah.
right. So we are a new humanity, and we are becoming more and more expressed as the Christ who we are. And that's basically what we are doing here, to show the Christ who we are.
Okay, thank you, Sebastian. Well, we have a question of the week, but I just wanted to say thank you for sharing all this, and we wish you the best with your books that are coming out. I'd just like to say there's 7 of them, is that correct, that are going to be coming out? The first one was Choose Only Love, and there'll be a series of 7, which are being published by Take Heart Publications. And we know that whoever's supposed to receive these books, it's going to reach the right people at the right time. So just wanted to thank you for that. And now we're going to turn to our question of the week. So Laurel, do you have something for us?
I do.
A question of the week?
Yes,
You
and
can
of
always
course,
join in and discuss.
we're recording this during the quarantine of the pandemic.
Yes.
So the question of the week is, how is love the answer to the pandemic, as well as the feelings and the situations that come with it? So that's what I'd like us to look at. How is love the answer to the pandemic? Who wants to go first?
Well, I'll be brief, but yeah, for me, it's, you know, excuse me, since love is our way of, excuse me, our true way of being, and it's really our home. I feel like love is that inner sanctuary. It's home, you know, the phrase home is where the heart is. And I feel like, you know, with the global pandemic and everyone is being called to stay home, you know, figuratively and literally, to stay home and to go within. And for so me, it's like this call to take this inward journey into our own hearts and to really feel the essence of who we are, which is love. And outwardly expressed, it's the same, because I've noticed throughout the times that we've been in this quarantine, there's a lot of connection going on in the community. Especially for me, within the Course of Love community, there's a lot of Zoom groups and spontaneous gatherings. And then we had the Easter service online last weekend with John Mundy and everyone. So yeah, I just feel like it's a call to go within and to really feel that essence of who we are, and then to share and extend that with others. And that's, to me, that's love is the answer. I think it's a deep calling to union and relationship, and I see it happening in my own personal experience.
I have to refer to our earlier discussion about how suffering is part of the human experience, and the reason why we would choose this experience is because we want to be on the fast track to knowing ourselves as Christ consciousness. So if we apply that to this situation, we can see that we're getting such practice with loving even our uncomfortable feelings, loving even a feeling of being unsafe, or the world changing too fast, or just the things that I used to count on, I can't count on before, and finding the resources within ourselves to love even that.
I agree with all what you are saying, and I would add that life is a mystery, and it's so big to just limited into one definition. However, we can talk about the aspect of the life being an opportunity. When we think about life as an opportunity, we can understand that this life, is an opportunity to wake up to the truth of what we are. And because the truth of what we are is love, this life gives us the opportunity to express that love. And because the expression of who we are is the only way that we have to know ourselves, then this quarantine or pandemic gives us the opportunity to express love in different ways. If life sent me to be at home alone, maybe it's a good opportunity to love myself and to express that love to me. And if I'm with my family, it's an opportunity to express love with my family members. Or if I'm in a position in which I can do something for others, I have plenty of opportunities to express love within the oneness. So I see, based on the experience that I have, is that this situation also allows us to be more aware of the humanity as a family, as a oneness. And I think that's part of what we need to know, and we are awakening to that. And that is a true blessing at the end of the day.
It is.
Yeah, beautiful.
It might seem odd to look at a pandemic as a blessing, but I think there are a lot of us who've known that it is for a long time. And I think you're right. I think everybody's going to know it in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So how is love the answer to loneliness? I'll go first. Well, for me, it's sometimes when I feel lonely, it's about just giving myself the space to feel that way. And something happens in that space. I don't know what it is, but it's like coming into a groundedness and a presence where I am feeling held. It doesn't feel that way in the beginning when I feel lonely, and I've actually struggled with a lot of loneliness and depression in my life. But for me, what I've learned through my own experience is to sit with it and give it space and welcome it, not push it away. And in words that I can't even explain, there's a miracle shift that happens. I don't know how to explain it, but the more I sit with it, the more I allow room for spaciousness and just to be with myself and to let whatever feelings there are to arise. Somehow, something happens. I don't know what it is. There's a shift, there's a miracle, something transforms, and it's able to all pass through, and then I can feel the embrace. And that's what's working for me. I'm only speaking from my own personal experience. But it is about honoring who I am in the moment and welcoming whatever experience is arising. And for somehow, somewhere, it all comes together. I can't explain it, but that's what's happened for me.
Thanks, Lynn. I was reading something, in the general media, I guess, the other day that I thought was a really good analysis of the sensation of loneliness. And it talked about how when we are lonely and we're missing connection, we actually need connection on two levels. We need, the first level is a feeling like we're supported and accepted for who we are, like a sense of belonging. And then the second part of it is a need for intimacy. And intimacy can be achieved by as simple as having someone present while you share whatever's important to you at this time, and having someone just really show up with you for that. So in a practical sense, applying those two things, you know, there are ways, there are people that we know accept us for who we are. We can reach out to them. And there are people in our lives that we know will hold and receive what's important to us in the moment. So for me, like recognizing when it comes and go, oh, I'm lonely, I'm experiencing loneliness, knowing that what it is that I actually need, it's like a self-love. Love is the answer in self-love, that I can actually just connect with those people and receive the connection that I'm longing for. And of course, ultimately, loneliness is the need for connection, is the need to recognize that I'm not separate. I'm not by myself. I'm connected to all that is. And that can be translated in a lot of ways, but in a really practical way, we can get it from other people that we know will provide that for us. You're up, Sebastian.
I'm really happy to listen to this question, because I believe loneliness is one of the biggest challenge in these current times. So it's a universal feeling that we all have in one way or another. And I think love is the answer, because when we join whatever we feel, it happens what Lynn said at the beginning. The feeling of loneliness comes to us to say something about us. And that message of love is a miracle that is revealed to us when we embrace it. I could find, based on my experience, that within each feeling there is life. So whenever the feeling of loneliness comes to us, love will join that feeling and give you the transformation that is the miracle that Lynn mentioned before, I guess so. So it calls us to love ourselves, to ask us the question of, why should I feel bad or wrong when I am with myself? There was a time in which I felt deep loneliness, and I didn't like that. And trying to be one with that feeling and to keep with that feeling as much as possible, without trying to run away from that. I could once understand that the problem of feeling loneliness or feeling wrong with my loneliness is because I don't love myself enough. When I understood that, I never felt loneliness anymore, because I understood that we feel fear, we are afraid of being alone because we are afraid of being with us. But if I'm my best friend and I love myself and take care of myself, and I treat with sweetness and tenderness to me, then loneliness disappears. So the message of loneliness in my case was love yourself with an unconditional love, and find in your heart that you are the most beautiful thing and creation that can ever be created, and enjoy who you are. So once you discover how beautiful you are, how wonderful you are, and how important you are, you will never feel loneliness.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, beautiful.
Well, we've come
Thank
to,
you. Well, we're coming up on our time. So I think that's really about it for today. And thanks so much, Sebastian, for joining us. It's really an honor to have you. And next week, we're going to have, or I'm sorry, 2 weeks, we're going to be doing this every 2 weeks. We're going to have our next guest is Cole Nazavisky, is going to be joining us from Australia. And we're going to probably be talking about feelings and emotions. So that'll be in 2 weeks from now. And Laurel, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
yeah, actually, I just remember that if you're interested in studying with other people about love and A Course of Love, there are free Zoom groups available. Lynn facilitates a group on Thursday afternoons, and I'm starting one this Sunday afternoon.
April 19th.
Right, the 19th. And so there are lots more times that are available. And so if you are interested in joining a group to talk about love and learn about love, go to courseoflove.org and look under groups. And of course, all of these are free, and we would love to have you.
Okay, well, thanks for joining us, everyone, on our podcast, Love is the Answer. We really do love you, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to send your questions in. Love is always the answer @gmail.com.